All right, welcome to 0 to 1,000 applications success story from Cisco. My name is Balaji Siva, and I hope you're enjoying this Spinnaker Live session already with the keynote, and thank you for joining your session. I'm part of OpsMx team. I run product at OpsMx, and we provide Spinnaker services to customers, enterprises. And I have with me the pleasure of introducing Anil. He is coming from Cisco. He's an enterprise IT architect, and we're going to today talk about the Cisco success journey of Cisco of Spinnaker from all the way from initial evaluation to now production to thousands of applications. So I'm pretty excited about this talk. And Anil?
Hey, thanks, Balaji. So I serve as the IT architect at the Cisco Systems. I'm leading continuous delivery and application security space, mainly in the DevSecOps space.
Excellent. Thank you. We know each other for the last 3 years. I think he was in San Jose, and then he moved to RDP, which is in North Carolina. I did actually the reverse. I was in RTP and I moved to San Jose, California. And I can tell you, you probably did the right thing because housing prices and all those things, I think it makes sense to be in RTP for sure. So thank you. I think we, both of us have been working this Spinnaker journey with Cisco with you guys for a while. And I thought the story or the whole process you went through at Cisco was very interesting. And a lot of the people in the community, while they're trying to decide on Spinnaker, would benefit from your decisioning and your thought process in this whole experience. So I want to definitely have you talk about it. So before we get started, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the Q&A panel. One of us would be happy to answer the questions. If not, we will reach out to you after the session. So let's get started, Anil. So Cisco, I think the interesting thing, three things I sort of at a high level want to get across from at the end of the session for the audience is that you guys are a large and thousands of developers that are using Spinnaker right now, and obviously plans to a lot more. Obviously using thousands of applications. But also you're looking at not only the traditional container-based applications, you're looking at other kinds of workloads. And also you have, as a large enterprise, you have a lot of compliance and regulation requirements. That's also something you're trying to bring in to the Spinnaker. So that's something we will talk more about it as you go along. So let's get the beginning. You're part of the enterprise IT team, and you looked at, I guess you're trying to deploy applications to OpenShift-based deployments, OpenShift-based environments. And what was the challenges that you faced, and why were you looking at the alternate options such as Spinnaker?
Yeah, so I think you and I know that the journey that we had in terms of Spinnaker. So we were initially part of the Cisco Enterprise IT. And we were the teams who are enabling continuous delivery solutions to the whole of the Cisco IT. And we were using our own internal cloud, which is nothing but we had OpenShift, which is sitting on the OpenStack, and that's where we used to enable our developers to do the deployments. I think we used to provide them the continuous build, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and some other spaces as well in terms of the compliance, governance, and other things.
Got it. And some of the the specific challenges that you faced, right? I mean, I think you are looking at options and some of the challenges you faced. And why did you consider Spinnaker as a solution that you would consider?
Around 2 to 3 years back, there was a huge rise of SaaS platforms and public clouds as a new workload runtime in Cisco. That pushed us to think of a new solution, and also we want to look at some of the solutions which can help the developers deploy to multi-cloud, and that's where we saw that Spinnaker coming in. And also we were looking for some solution which can be hosted on a cloud native environment, because we were looking at the OpenShift, that is our internal cloud. Um, Thus, we started exploring the Spinnaker, and its ability to provide multi-cloud was the solution that really made us think of a new solution that can help us.
And what are some of the criterias? So as you started Spinnaker and trying to determine if it's the right product for your production use case, what are some of the specific criteria that you looked at to evaluate before you choose Spinnaker?
I think criteria we had was multi-cloud. Definitely, that was the number one on our plate. But we also wanted to look at how flexible the solution is. Is it API driven? So that we wanted to integrate with our own systems, like the compliance, the governance, the policy engine. We also have analytics. So we wanted to make sure the solution not only is flexible, but also can be integrated in our systems. And we also, a good call for this was Gopi from OpsMx team really helped us do some of the evaluation in terms of making sure we have a single pipeline which can deploy to a multi-cloud as well. I think these were the criteria, and some of the help that got from OpsMx was much appreciated.
No, that's great. I think I guess one other thing you're maybe that we talked about was around this being an open source. I think there is definitely one is obviously the cost advantage you have with an open source, even if you are using external support, for example. But you like that it's an open source. Why don't you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes. Yes. The open source was is one of the criteria, because we wanted to scale at the enterprise level, and that open source was definitely was one of the criteria that we were looking for.
I mean, I think the benefit I think we can all agree upon is contributions and the participation from everybody, right? I think we love working in the open source community. You have, in this particular case with Spinnaker, you have obviously the Netflix and the Googles, as well as actually other customers like yourself and Target and Cerner and other people actually contributing code back to the community, and they're driving the feature requirements. I think that's something we see as useful for somebody like you. And
Oh yeah. I think that was definitely one of the boosting point, I would say, not the criteria, but I think that really helped us, the volume of community and the how active it was, specifically on the Kubernetes side. I think that was really a criteria for us, which bumped up to look at this solution.
got it. So now let's say you had your reasons to move, and then you had evaluated Spinnaker. Now you're trying to say, let me go to production. So do you go with a single large? I mean, how did you go about your production architecture? Let's just say, right? Is it a single Spinnaker instance or multiple instances, and what are some of the things you kind of dealt with?
Yeah, we started with I think everybody starts with a single instance. That's the go-to thing. We started with a single production enterprise instance, which catered the whole of Cisco IT. But very soon we came across few challenges with respect to scaling and performance. So we spent a lot of time in terms of load testing, regression, and making sure we had all the tests evaluated. And we also looked at the spikes or the breakpoints. So basically, we wanted to do a thorough testing before we get to the production, right? And that's when we thought that of re-architecting the whole infrastructure, and we implemented a multi-instance Spinnaker. Basically, based on a specific organization, we started spinning up multiple instances so that we could not only provide the performance level, but also the risk level was low, because if there was an instance impact that happened, it would happen to only a specific group of people, not rather than the whole enterprise.
So I think currently, if I'm right, you have about 10 instances. 8 of them is in sort of the production kind of use case, and a couple of them sort of a staging kind of deployments.
Yes. Yeah, I think we have Spinnakers running in 3 regions. We call them data centers, and we have 8 production instances running in each data centers, and they are all HA in terms of active passive. And we have another 3 instances running for our own development team and testing team, where we do all the configurations, upgrades, patching. We validate specific features in our own environment. So basically, we have more than almost like more than 22 plus instances running in our environment.
Okay, that's many. And I think, yeah, as you look towards the future, you plan to add almost a Spinnaker instance per group kind of a model. Is that?
Yes, I think that's the model we want to follow. I think brings down, as I told, it brings down the risk a lot.
Okay, got it. And let's talk about app onboarding, and how did you identify the first set of applications that you would onboard, and some of the things you have to get those first users onboarded, and also continue to add additional applications. So you talk about your strategy. I mean, I guess more importantly, what should some large organization like yourself, how should they look about looking at onboarding strategy?
Yeah, I think we didn't do a bang approach. Rather, we picked up the top 4 business applications. We worked with them. We onboarded their applications onto our environment. And we went through the challenges that they were facing, the experience that we wanted to have. And that's where we created the whole experience for the developer. And also, once that was done, we started having multiple events. Basically, one of the biggest events that we had was Hack ID, where we called the whole of the Cisco developer community to participate in our entire journey. And they happened to work on all the Spinnakers, the CD pipelines. So that's where it attracted a lot of developers, and that's where we started onboarding, and that's where our journey of adoption started.
Yeah, that's a great way to let the developers decide, right, what platform they choose. Once you remove their fear of new platform, etc., they get to do it in a demo set or a hacking session. They feel now ready to go to that. All right, perfect. So when you as you got all of these developers onboarded, well, you had to have to do I know you have lots of developers. You have like 4,000, 5,000 developers in enterprise IT, talking to you last time. And how did you, and thousands of applications, so did you have to set up self-service model for these developers, or your team was involved every time there is a need to onboard an application? And how do you keep your sanity, because there's a lot of compliance and regulation that needs to happen as well?
Yeah, I think we built a transactional web experience layer for IT developers above all the tools, which provides a rich data-driven in terms of the compliance, in terms of the governance. If there's a SOX application, it validates. And it's kind of a la carte self-service provisioning for the CI/CD pipeline. So that's how we went about self-servicing the developers.
Got it. And what challenges from a Spinnaker scaling perspective, as you obviously scale to a lot of the users, what are some of the scaling challenges you ran into, and how did you sort of overcome that?
Yeah, I think as I told you before, one of the biggest challenge was in terms of accounts, the cloud driver accounts. Once we reached more than 200, 300 accounts, that's where we started seeing some of the challenges in terms of the performance. And that's where I think Gopi and all helped us, specifically the community also pitched in and helped us in terms of optimizing the accounts. And not only that, we also moved our accounts to a central repository, a Git repository. which has helped us improve a lot of performance in terms of managing and maintaining the Spinnaker instance.
Got it. And so today you are thousands of applications. Is that 1,000 plus applications? Is that right?
That's right. So our main goal was, when we started, we wanted to hit 700 deployments production, but actually we went beyond that 1,000 plus production deployments.
Excellent. So what are some of the success criteria or success metrics that you are? So I want to break it down into what the tools team saw, right, as your metrics, and then obviously the developer or the app team saw as a metric, and what is the IT leaders saw as a metric.
Yeah, I think one of the metrics was in terms of the deployments, the adoption increase. It helped a lot of development team migrate to the cloud native. As you know, Cisco is still a lot of applications still in the legacy old model, which are migrating to cloud. That really helped them. Productivity gain, next one, speed of deployments was huge. And there were a lot of, as I told you, there were a lot of production deployments that happened. These were some of the productivity metrics that I can call them.
And I think I guess one thing is the time to onboard a new application. Was there a difference between sort of let's say the old model versus the new model? Because now you're able to sort of bring in some sort of the offline things as part of the Spinnaker automation. Is there anything you saw that you think you can share?
Yeah, I think as a developer, it used to take a lot of time because of the multiple tools that we had. Due to our transactional web service and the self-service, we have improved a lot, humongous improvement in terms of the stacks getting created. That has speed the whole process of the development area.
Got it. So as you look forward, what are some of the big things you're looking to do next year on the Spinnaker platform?
See, one of the biggest thing that we're looking for is the policy engine. We are working on the OPA policy. Basically, we want to ensure that all our pipeline deployments that are happening to production, they all meet the compliance, governance, as well as the security aspect. We are working big on that, and also we are looking at a lot of other SaaS products like the Snowflake, the Salesforce, and the ServiceNow. We want to make sure that we allow the developers to do the developments to those as well. I think that's going to be a big thing for us.
Yeah, I think going back to your couple of the first one, which is on the policy integration. I know that we're working with you and trying to basically enable the OPA-based. OPA, by the way, is an open policy agent that integrated into the Spinnaker. So you're able to define through regular expressions some of the policies that you need. It could be a SOX compliance check, or it could be some other kind of check, and that helps people to bring in sort of the manual or offline ad hoc processes that people have as part of the Spinnaker pipeline. I think that's something that I guess large organizations like yourself would need many of those, because you probably had a lot of ad hoc processes and things like that are also compliance requirement that needs to be verified, even though you may have other checks and balances. That's something will save a significant amount of time in the overall pipeline. The actual act of deployment, I think we were talking a few days ago, was like maybe you're saving 3x, 4x, 5x improvement from an actual that process. But bringing in the sort of the ad hoc processes and making it as a one seamless delivery system would bring in a lot more savings from that efficiency perspective.
Yeah, definitely on that, Balaji, I think the idea is that as a developer, he should not be worried about all these ad hoc things, and it should all automate the pipeline, right? All he needs to worry about is developing his code and committing the change, deploying to the instance, and all the governance process should be built in the system, and automated checks should be there. I think that's where we're heading towards.
And on the second point, I think what's also interesting is sort of the the non-traditional workloads. I guess for let's say Spinnaker, you typically associate with deploying to Kubernetes or EC2, But you're actually trying to do for Snowflake and Dell Boomi and other kinds of workloads or use
Yeah, I
cases.
think yes, there's a myth that Spinnaker can deploy to the clouds. I think everywhere we see that, but because of our own platforms, because we have a hybrid deployments, so we worked with the community and the Gopis of the Gopi from OpsMx to build a custom job which can not only deploy to the SaaS products, but also a lot of applications who are running on our OpenStack VMs. So that's something which we did because we wanted to provide that experience as teams are migrating from their legacy systems to the cloud. They also have the opportunity of deploying into the legacy system as a part of the same pipeline.
Got it. So as we wind up this session, what are I wanted you to give us 3 takeaways for the community. What it could be a best practice, it could be your suggestion, or so what are the 3 things you want people to say, as a learning lessons or etc.
I think multi-instance that really increased our performance and it lowered the risk to a smaller groups. I think that's a big takeaway for me. And the custom jobs, that definitely helps us to deploy to multiple other platforms as well. That is and yeah, I think those are the 2 top things that I would say, and that really help us, and that will definitely help the other enterprise organizations as well who are adopting Spinnaker.
Sounds good. One last question, I guess. What would you ask the community to help you or help focus on for the next year? What would that make you? What would be your suggestion?
Yeah, I think one call out is we happen to do a lot of testing, regression testing, automated testing when we are bringing the instance to a production, enterprise production, right? I think build automation runs that community can make that open source. That will definitely help us because when we build and modify the containers, we can run those specific tests and make sure we meet all the criteria that the community wants us or expects us to do, right? That will definitely help us. The second one is the ability to integrate with the plugin framework so that we can make it seamless for the user experience, right? For the status and reporting errors. That is the second thing that will definitely help us from a community perspective.
Very good. Thank you, Anil, so much. I think hopefully the audience are able to get some takeaways. Obviously, they can reach out to you, through whatever channels that's available. Please feel free to ask Q&A, and if you need us to talk to us one-on-one, happy to do it offline if you have any specific questions. Thanks for your time, and hopefully you have a safe and healthy COVID go through the situation in our life. And thank you for attending your sessions.
Thanks, Bye. Thanks for your time.